Fill her up.
You're listening to the Gas Digital Network.
Hello and welcome to the show. You're not going to want to miss this intro because we got a lot to tell you about in today's episode. It's long overdue. I'm so happy to have Mark Hunter from Chimaira on the show. I'm sorry that it took over 700 something episodes to get Mark on the show finally, but we did it and we had a great time, and I think you guys are going to really enjoy today's show. And don't forget, Chimaira is playing Friday, May 16th at Milwaukee Metal Fest. Go and get your tickets right now over at therave.com/metalfest. And do not miss this epic weekend. It's going to be the best weekend of our lives, May 15th through the 18th, 2025. Speaking of Milwaukee Metal Fest, today's episode is brought to you by our official sponsor of the festival, Blue Grape Music, one of the great Milwaukee Metal Fest sponsors and today's sponsor of the podcast. And we really appreciate Blue Grape coming on board. Check out bluegrapemusic.com after the podcast today. You know, their inaugural signing was two-time Grammy nominee Code Orange. And since then, the label has gone on to sign an array of rock, metal, and hardcore acts that include Spiritual Cramp, Super Heaven, Gel, Gridiron, Do Flame, Gasket, and Heavy Hitter, who I was just listening to. That shit was hard. They have several big new signing announcements expected this year, so keep your eyes on bluegrapemusic.com. I'm sure we'll have a coupon code for you to save on some of their music and merchandise very soon. But big thanks to Blue Grape Music, one of our official sponsors of the Milwaukee Metal Fest and the Jasta Show. Big thanks to bluegrapemusic.com. While we're on the subject of Milwaukee Metal Fest, and if you have a Sunday ticket, do not miss Gates to Hell, okay? Get there early and check out their set. They did so good at the 2023 edition of the Milwaukee Metal Fest that Machine Head saw them and was like, I need to take them on tour. Their new record is out now on Nuclear Blast, and they are today's sponsor of the episode and an official sponsor of the Milwaukee Metal Fest. Gates to Hell have returned with their undeniable truth. Death comes to all. Freshly signed to Nuclear Blast Records, the Louisville natives charge onto the heavy music scene with their second full-length album, blurring the lines between death metal, hardcore, and every brutal sound in between. Gates to Hell, Death Comes to All is out now via Nuclear Blast Records. Make sure you head on over to nuclearblast.com after the podcast today and get yourself a copy. And don't forget, Machine Head's Unatoned is out worldwide via Nuclear Blast on April 25th. Big thanks to Nuclear Blast. Now, for some really big news out of the Hatebreed camp. I'm sure you've been wondering for the last 23 years why the hell Perseverance has not been released on vinyl. Well, we fucking did it. We licensed it. We got it from Universal, and we have pre-sales going up probably by the time you hear this. Just keep checking deathwishinc.com and martyrstore.net. Big thanks to Universal. Big thanks to Deathwish. Big thanks to Copycats Media, Steve Ross, and everybody who made this happen. This is huge. Head on over to martyrstore.net and use the code MMF10, and you'll save 10% on your Perseverance vinyl pre-order. Pre-order now, though, because it's going to sell out. And if we do sell out, head on over to deathwishinc.com. We have some exclusive Jake Bannon merch designs. Shout out to Jake from Converge. He did an amazing job. Those will be up over at deathwishinc.com. So if you want his designs with the bundle, or if you want the band's designs with like the sweatpants and the tank top or the zip hoodie, or I think we also did a raglan tee, like 3/4 sleeve tee, you can see those at martyrstore.net. Use the code MMF10. Oh, we'll also have work shirts and flags and stuff too. Yeah. What was the code? I think it's MMF10. martyrstore.net. Link will be in the show notes. Now, before we get to our chat with Mark Hunter from Chimaira, I got to remind you today's episode is also brought to you by Reigning Phoenix Music. Big thanks to Reigning Phoenix Music. They are killing it right now. You can head on over to their site, reigningphoenixmusic.com, after the podcast today and pre-order new releases from INCITE. That record kicks ass. Go check it out. It's coming out August 25th. It's called Savage New Times, and you can pre-order over at Reigning Phoenix Music. They also have new releases from Onslaught, UK thrash legends there. That's called Origins of Aggression. You can check out the Meshuggah, the Immutable re-release, the Indelible edition. You can pre-order that as well, plus releases from Lordy, Kerry King, Deicide, and many others. Big thanks to Reigning Phoenix Music. Check out their site, reigningphoenixmusic.com. Subscribe to their YouTube, subscribe to their email newsletter, and be on the lookout because they got a big signing to announce soon. Okay, what else? Oh, Jasta on Patreon, patreon.com/Jasta. Subscribe to gasdigital.com. They are killing it right now. The whole network is killing it. Everybody's having a big moment. And we're just so grateful for your support. And yeah, if you want to donate to the show, if you like today's show, at Jamey Jasta on Venmo, $, Jamey Jasta on Cash App. I'll plug it again, or we'll put it in the show notes at the end. But enjoy today's show with Mark Hunter. Drink your coffee, do your push-ups, listen to death metal, slay the day, keep the PMA. All right, enjoy the show.
My friend, the lead singer of Hatebreed, the infamous and notorious Jamey Jasta is in the building. That's what's up.
Jamey Jasta from the metal band Hatebreed. That guy's famous.
Coffee, death metal, and push-ups.
That's Jamey Jasta. Remember Jamey Jasta? You know him. He's a podcaster, but he's a metal man.
I would say delete that.
That shit is hard.
Your host, Jamey Jasta, Hatebreed.
What is going on, everybody? We got Mark from Chimaira on the show. They are playing Milwaukee Metal Fest May 16th, the Friday night with Down, Rotting Christ, Enslaved. I'm doing an SOD tribute. It's going to be a lot of fun. Mark, long time no see. How are you, bud?
Yeah, it's been a minute. I'm good. Thanks for asking, and it's good to be here.
Yeah, sorry it took me like 700 something episodes to get you on. You're not the only one though. So I'm sure there's plenty. But we're getting everybody on this year. That's the goal. And even if it's like over Zoom or StreamYard or whatever, we're gonna make it happen. But if you are in New York, by all means, come by the studio.
Absolutely.
Are there plans to do a big New York show or New Jersey show, or do I need to book you on March Metal Meltdown now that I fucking bought that? Too?
Oh wow, really? That was one of our we played that in, I want to say 99.
Yeah.
We played that. That was one of the last ones, it might have been. I'm not sure.
Yep, and I got because I have the flyer here somewhere. Was that the year with Danzig and us? Or Sepultura?
The band I remember, Bad Luck 13, that's the one that comes to mind the most. I don't remember a single other band. All Out War played because they play, and I was a fan of them at the time, and I was like really excited to play with them. And but there are no plans for a New York show at the moment. We have just a few limited festival appearances this year, but we are looking into next year, and we realize that our fans just don't want us to play festivals. So we would like to play a couple headline shows in other areas, like especially New York. That was always New York, New Jersey, good area for us.
So we can't just gloss over the Bad Luck 13 mention. You have to give us exactly what you witnessed and when and what you remember, if you can.
I wish it was interesting. I just recall that shortly after our set that they had caused some sort of riot and there might have been power tools involved. I feel like that sounds like somebody did something on stage and it caused a riot and people got scared. And, we did the typical Beavis and Butthead reaction to it. Like, that's cool. I mean, what else are you going to do?
Right. I know, because when you would see those guys like backstage and stuff, they were so nice and pretty like soft spoken and stuff. And then they would go out there as smoke bombs and like barbed wire bats and blood. And
that's probably what that sounds more familiar now that you say barbed wire bat. That's like kind of jogged something on a memory. Maybe it was from something else, but
swinging at the crowd, or it was like ECW in music.
Right. Yeah.
So we have a great Patreon crew. They were all excited that you were coming on finally. And I always skip their questions, or if I don't see it in the chat, I feel bad and I guilt myself. So I want to go right to the Patreon crew's question here. The first one comes from Dallas Bolin. He says, how was it seeing Pass Out of Existence ad in that James Vanderbeek movie Laws of Attraction? What is that about?
So there's this movie with it's the same. It's basically the same author that wrote American Psycho and Less Than Zero, Bret Easton Ellis. There's another movie of his that was made, and Fred Savage is doing heroin in tighty whities, and there's a giant Chimaira poster behind him for Pass Out of Existence. I don't know what else to say about that other than just point it out that exists. And I tweeted Fred Savage once about it, and he didn't respond, and I wouldn't expect him to, but like, that's pretty awesome, man. Like, to answer the question, like, how was it seeing? It was pretty epic. It was one of the few instances where we had the good fortune of our posters being in movies or TV. There's an episode of The Sopranos where our poster's in AJ's room, and come to find out, a lot of this was due to Monty Connor from Roadrunner. When we were signed to Roadrunner, his wife worked in an industry that populated, set designs essentially and put posters up. And so you have to realize, wasn't that Fred Savage was a huge fan of our band, although it would be cool if he was.
Yeah, I'm always wary of those calls or those emails when I get them, because I want to know what the character's all about, what the scene, what's the context and whatever. Because one time they called and they go, yeah, they're going to be wearing your shirt in a scene in the new Ghostbusters.
Oh no.
And then that ended up being like a dumpster fire. The scene never made it. A character was going to be wearing our shirt, but the scene never made it. It got left on the cutting room floor. But yeah, that was the one that was like a dumpster fire of a. Here's the shot of Fred Savage. So you signed off on that.
I didn't know it existed. There was no.
So you got to sue him.
Yeah, probably. So I don't know. So if you look, he's got Fear Factory above his head as well, Spine Shank. So you can tell this is all Roadrunner, right? They're all Roadrunner bands. And this is Monty Connor's wife working in the film and TV industry, making sure all of the products from Roadrunner were placed like exactly where they needed to be all over the pop culture.
God. And then, there's the people that notice that stuff, because I would never notice that stuff. I always wonder, are those people, do they have a touch of the tism? Like,
it takes me a while to notice stuff like that too. And when I do, it's always exciting. I was watching Friday the 13th 5 the other day. It just turned 40 and totally underrated in the series. But Eagle Eye, and I'd never noticed this before, there's a little Knot Man from Anthrax, the little Knot Man face, just like hanging out in like a shed. And I was like, that is so cool. And to discover it, again, this late in life, like I'd never noticed that before.
The people that notice that stuff, like especially on Instagram in the background of people's pictures and stuff, they need to figure out a way to weaponize that skill, or it's a superpower. Yeah,
that guy that just knows where everybody is, just based on like that one little snip, right?
So like I recognize that what do they call those things that are on like a railing? Spindle. Like,
okay,
you got those spindles at this store and they're only sold in this area or whatever. No, that is. It's a superpower. I'm not, even if you're listening, because I know we do have a bunch of listeners that have a touch of the tism. Shout out to you, because
yeah, absolutely.
Then you point out cool stuff like that, and that gets people talking, word of mouth. I never heard of this fucking movie. Now I might actually watch it. I didn't, and it's got Fred Savage and James Vanderbeek.
Right. To this day, I don't think I've ever seen it, so I should watch it too. I've just seen that. People have sent me that picture a bunch of times over the years, and I don't know why I've never watched it.
Yeah, there was one I saw recently that that I want to say it was on Tubi. Do you have Tubi?
Of course, yeah. That's a great place to find gems.
Dude, Tubi is insane. I think if we ever do a documentary or if I ever do a film, just put it on Tubi. I feel like more people will see it than on Netflix or these other ones. I know the ads are annoying, but I really like the fact that they're getting very daring with what they're adding. Like they're at that point where they're just adding anything and everything, so you can find some really like fucked up sketchy shit on there.
Absolutely.
For now, until a suit gets in and realizes, oh, this is why we're getting all these people watching, and then they get it.
So Tubi is exactly in my wheelhouse for content I like. I enjoy 70s horror. I enjoy 70s Italian horror. I enjoy 70s, what do you want to call it? Like softcore porn, basically, like the entire Black Emanuel series. These are like, I love these movies. And
so that was
right up my alley.
Sorry to interrupt. So that's what. So I was on there and I saw these later howlings that I didn't know existed.
Yeah, like 4.
Yes,
or something. Right. Yeah.
Yes, with the guy that's screaming as he's shooting werewolves, and the chick who's always topless, and she was in Playboy. Do you know which chick I'm talking about?
I would have to Google that one. I saw it when I was a kid. I recently watched Howling 1 last year. I think it had an anniversary.
So the rights are muddied, I think, similar to like Friday the 13th and other horror franchises, and it sucks because we lose out. Like somebody would take the Howling now and either remake it or reimagine it, and it could be sick like the Evil Dead ones were.
I feel they suck a lot of the soul out in some of these modern films when they try to do them, and a lot of times with these legacy sequels that nobody asked for, I try them, but I just don't feel they have the same. I would much rather watch a old movie that just sucks in every regard in terms of technical filmmaking and from the 70s or 80s than I would rather when I watch something modern. I enjoy it more. I'm able to just, I guess, lose myself in it more. And Tubi's fine with the commercials, especially if you're watching. I'm okay with them because of the if it's like an old sitcom, it like really brings it home. I'm like, oh yeah, this is where they would have had the commercial. It like I feel like a kid again in that regard. Watching like Three's Company or some old show that they might have on there.
So you didn't like the Evil Dead ones?
I liked the one from, what was it, 2012 or 13? That was pretty good. I didn't make it too far into the new one. I saw this CGI head fly at me and I thought, I'm out. I literally, So, I mean, my buddy who's an horror enthusiast kind of made fun of me for dipping out so early, but I just wasn't in the mood. That I'll try it again though. I'm sure. I like the series until it kind of jumped the shark, but the series was all right.
Yeah, the series with Ash. What was it called?
Ash vs. Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I should specify I'm not talking about like the Friday the 13th remakes or the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. Although there was, just in case anybody who worked on any of those films watches or listens to this, because that will happen. Like when we, especially on our movie podcast, we'll shit on a film or shit on somebody in the cast, and somehow they fucking hear it.
Find out. Oh no.
And they're so bummed. But or even like, what was the one? Remember when they're doing the whole 3D gimmick, and it was like they redid like My Bloody Valentine and
Rana.
Yes, yes. Those, I'm sorry, those were all. Yeah, they were bad.
Campy. I might be of the minority here, but I love the Friday the 13th, 2009 with Derek Mears. They're like he's basically Rambo, the Rambo the weed farmer. I'm totally fine with it.
You were so wow, but
I loved it.
Are you sure you just weren't like stoned and?
I watch it. I watch it every year. I have the 4K. Like I love it. I'm dead.
Wow.
Dead serious on that one. The stupendous tits. She's got the best rack in the whole franchise. Like that is S tier Friday the 13th, my friend.
Better than the racks in Jason X.
Yeah, I think so. Because they're stupendous tits, the one with perfect nipple placement, as they say. They're real. I'm sold.
Yes,
You
you're
know?
right. You're right. They're very fake in Jason X.
Yeah, and that's
They're-
my. I'm not.
I went to see that in the theater before a show at the Sunshine Theater in Albuquerque, New Mexico, like
Yes.
around the block,
Right.
from the what is the Brazilian place where they come out with like meat on swords? I love that.
Churrascaria, yeah.
Yeah.
Love
But
those.
but if you had to remake one of those old campy ones, which one would you remake, or which one would you want to see remade if you had to?
Yeah, there's so many that are untapped, like some of these Joe D'Amato films that are just really obscure, unless you're in the scene, if you will, like wanting the darker horror stuff. And I think that Hollywood is like looking more at the larger IPs until they milk them just dry, essentially, where there's a lot of older 70s, 80s. You can go to Italy or Spain. These directors were not giving a fuck. They're eating animals on the screen. They're getting charged with murder because the cannibal Holocaust, they think it's real death they're seeing. There's a lot untapped in that area that it's just not technically done well. Where if somebody like had the passion and somebody had the skill set and wanted to pay an appropriate tribute, there's a plethora of movies I would look at. But nothing. I think I would create something that would be a hodgepodge, something like maybe more Tarantino would do, where he's doing like in Kill Bill, taking several films that he's influenced by. I think that would be my approach versus a direct remake.
Yeah, I think you could say some modern horror is already that as well, right? Like
It's getting there.
If you look at, say, Blood-Sucking Freaks, which would be, if done right, it would be fucking terrifying because the premise. And recently I heard something about like somebody using a midget to torture people, and that's in there, right? Like Sardou.
Okay. I have not seen that film, so I'm sorry, I can't.
Oh, you haven't seen Blood-Sucking Freaks?
No, I have not.
Oh my God.
I'll put it on the list right now.
You're about to have a life change. Oh, you gotta watch it tonight, Sardou.
Right.
I almost wanted to start a black metal band called Sardou.
All right, I got it.
Ralphus. Oh my God, dude. So Blood-Sucking Freaks, I think the issues with it is I think it was trauma when it was still the brothers.
Okay.
Right? Because that's getting figured out now, because I guess Toxic Avenger is coming out at the end of the year. That it was quote unquote unreleasable, and now it's coming out. And it's the dude that directed Blue Ruin and Green Room.
Okay. I know exactly what you're talking about, but I have not seen this one. And I'll add it. I'll get it tonight.
I wonder if it's on Tubi. I wonder who has the rights, or if you have to watch like a bootleg.
I have methods.
You have a guy.
I have methods. So it's Vinegar Syndrome. I have a buddy, shout out to the bassist of a band called Hell Night, E2 times. And Brian from Shadows Fall is the singer of, I love that band. But he is a horror aficionado. This guy knows everything. And he has one of those collections of every obscure movie you want. And he will undoubtedly have it on his Plex.
That's awesome. So you got to ask him about, I just found it. It's Sybil Danning. She might be original Perfect Tits, or what was the term?
In Friday the 13th, they call him. He says she has stupendous tits with perfect nipple placement is the line. So ridiculous.
So Howling 2, your sister is a werewolf. So it's Sybil Danning.
All right.
Wait to see the credits. Like the credit, there's. Maybe Mike can look this up, but I think there was some deal in her contract where she's like, I don't, I'm just known for my tits. I don't want to be
Right.
I don't want to be topless in the whole movie or whatever. So I think they only had one scene, but then just to be dicks in the credits, because it's technically not in the film, I think they just rolled the topless scene in the credits.
Yes.
But yeah, so if you didn't know, there was other howlings in the series.
I have them, but I've never watched them since like maybe a kid. Like I haven't watched these new versions that I have on Plex, but so I'm looking at her IMDb of what I've seen of hers. So she's in that Chained Heat movie.
Yep.
She's with Linda Blair. Is that her? With her? Yeah. Yep. That's Linda Blair's. Or just this whole podcast can be titties. That's Linda Blair's titties. She's in Hercules. I saw that with Lou Ferrigno. And
classic.
That was on cable when we were growing up, man, all the time.
Yeah. And
that's probably it that I've seen her in. So yeah, I'll check out Howling too. Fall Guy. All right.
Yeah. So what about Dog Soldiers? Did you ever see that?
I haven't, and I know I have to. There's everyone has that list of classics that everyone is like, why haven't you seen that yet? That's on it. Mine, it's getting shorter though. Every Halloween I do 31 movies in 31 days with the fans, and so that often broadens it. So I know I need to include that one. That one got mentioned like 3 or 4 times last year.
It's if you're gonna watch a werewolf movie, it's slightly better than Howling
2. Slightly better. All right.
Your sister is a werewolf.
Howling 1 is dope though. The first one's good.
For sure. No, I even bad werewolf movies I like. Like people really
Teen Wolf, man. That's my jam.
A classic. What about A Silver Bullet? People kind of shit on that.
No, I like that. I like any of those earlier Stephen King movies. Like I kind of have a soft spot for.
You know what? Oh, so there's another one I watched on there was Salem's Lot.
Yeah, that's a classic. I didn't watch the new one though.
Oh, I watched the new one too. It's okay. Yeah. It was like sometimes I know this is fucked up, but I think this is probably why a lot of people like horror is like maybe it puts us in our parasympathetic nervous system or something because we're invested in it. And or maybe it's just everybody has a touch of the tism.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, if you put like Benny Hill music over it, though, it becomes a completely different experience, right? So that's what's weird about it. It's all the music.
It's
like John Carpenter. Yeah, like it. I think of Halloween all the time, and John Carpenter putting that music on, and that's you're looking at a house, but yet you're so terrified because of those synth sounds and the notes he's hitting in the tension that's building, and you don't know what you're seeing. But put Benny Hill over it. Then what is your experience like? So I think music has a huge part in why horror is what it is.
For sure, yeah, they're the people who score the films and pick certain pieces for certain scenes for sure deserve more credit than they get. And what is going on, Metalheads? Today's episode is brought to you by Nuclear Blast Records. You know them, you love them. They're a great supporter of the Jasta Show and of Milwaukee Metal Fest. And guess who's playing Milwaukee Metal Fest again? That's right, Gates to Hell, fresh off their brand new album, Death Comes to All, which you can go get now at nuclearblast.com. These guys absolutely crush, blurring the lines between death metal, hardcore, and every brutal sound in between. You're going to see this record on a lot of best of the year lists. I'm telling you, go get it right now. Gates to Hell, Death Comes to All, out now on Nuclear Blast Records. And of course, don't forget, Machine Head, Unatoned, coming out April 25th. If you haven't pre-ordered yet, head on over to nuclearblast.com. And you'll see a bunch of stuff you're going to want to get. I mean, shit, they got Black Sabbath merch, Fit for an Autopsy vinyl reissues, Carcass vinyl reissues, Doro vinyl reissues, and Doro. People are still talking about Doro's set from Milwaukee Metal Fest. But yes, while I have you, if you are coming to Milwaukee Metal Fest, get your Sunday tickets at therave.com/metalfest if you haven't yet. Show up early and make sure you check out the Gates to Hell set. And if you want a meet and greet, head on over to martyrstore.net. You'll see we've added Death Angel meet and greets for Saturday. I have my own meet and greet. We got one for Kirk now because Kirk's going to be hanging out on Friday and Saturday. I think we're going to even get him to the pre-party. But yeah, for any of your Milwaukee Metal Fest meet and greet needs, head on over to martyrstore.net, use the promo code MMF10, and then, of course, the big news of the week. That's right, Hatebreed Perseverance album on vinyl, 2 limited edition colors available at both martyrstore.net and or deathwishinc.com. If you want the t-shirt or the pin that Jake Bannon designed, shout out to Jake from Converge, you can get it at deathwishinc.com, or if you want the work shirts or the flags, you can get it over at martyrstore.net. Now back to the show. You know, we're both playing Milwaukee Metal Fest, and this, we have a little bit of a tie to the horror community there. Well, at least we will within the SOD tribute set, because
Freddy Krueger.
Yes. And I think I promised it already to, who did I promise to be Freddy Krueger? I think it was Seth from Fugitive, I was saying.
Nice.
But I was trying to edit that music and get a clip, like a perfect clip with a crescendo. But I was thinking of the mindset of like a UFC entrance or a WWE entrance.
Right,
like in between songs to cue Freddy Krueger to come out. Sorry if this is spoilers, if anyone's planning to go, because it still might work out or whatever. But when in doing that, I was like, oh wow, this music, like even the Nightmare on Elm Street music, it's amazing. It's so creative and cool, like how it fits with the character in this weird, I don't know, it's like an intangible. Yeah, you're right. It's like he hit on that nerve, that just unsettling. That's got to be scientific.
I have no idea what it is, but I feel like the music freaks me out more than imagery a lot of times. Especially like David Lynch, like his stuff, like all of a sudden you're watching it and it'll be comical and you're like, all right, it's kind of mundane. And then it's like all of a sudden you hear this deep, like Moog synthesizer and you're like, why am I scared now? And you're freaked out and it's a complete twist. And just rad.
I think with Lynch, that's probably one of the most impactful celebrity deaths I've ever witnessed reactions to. And it made me so happy to read all that stuff. Like I went down a David Lynch death reaction rabbit hole one night.
Yeah.
And it was so inspiring. There were so many heartfelt, articulate things written about that guy, which makes me want to go revisit some of his stuff, because I was always like very frustrated with it.
It's frustrating. I've been a Twin Peaks fan for a long, long time. I wish I would have saw it when it originally aired, but I caught it in the Bravo era, when Bravo actually showed like TV shows. They would play it late at night and it would just be kind of creepy. And I've had the fortunate luck to get to befriend one of the she actually owns Laura Palmer's house, but she's in the final season as well. One of the characters, Mary Reber's her name. And I got to watch Fire Walk with Me in Laura Palmer's house. And I'm just looking up, there's the fan blowing and all this, like, it was just the most surreal thing I've gotten to do in a long time. But yeah, Lynch's work has inspired me and been a huge, impact on my, style. So when he passed, that is one of the first celebrities. Like I felt like, man, like I feel like Twin Peaks turned off. Like I feel like I could always go back every year. And this year I was hesitant to watch it. And I was like, because I don't want it. I don't want that finality, that closure. And if you're a Twin Peaks fan, closure is the enemy. And it just felt really off. And it was definitely had an impact on me as well.
I understand what you're saying, right? Because he often talked about going into these other states other planes, right? Whether it was through meditation, and now he's made the ultimate journey, right? Out of his physical body, but everything that he's worked on, at least, and this is just coming from, friends and family and super fans and everything that I read, it seemed like he was kind of addressing those mysteries and those things in the smallest little, but also the absurdity.
Yeah.
And like, if you start Twin Peaks over, if you decide to, which I did probably 2 weeks before his death, which was really
That's
like
bizarre.
like my girl was like, what the fuck? She was all freaked out.
Right.
When he passed, because she was kind of into it, but her older sisters were more into it than she was. She liked the music and liked the style.
Yeah. It's just a cool vibe, whether you're way into it or not. It's a cool vibe.
Yes. And then she liked his interviews. Like, she liked listening to him talk about it. And if you go back and watch any of his appearances, like on Letterman or any of those nightly shows, he was like pleading to keep the show on the air, and Suits didn't understand it. And so he had that, I guess, what all those kind of punk rock or underground artists, that struggle that everybody has with the Suits. Even if you have dedicated fans, if you're not, if there's something more popular, or if there's something more money driven that they can replace you with, even though your shit is way better or way cooler or has a cult following, or is, they will look at it as like niche and less profitable. They want it, to be more Nickelback or more Drake or more, Dancing with the Stars or whatever. Right. So he was talking about losing his slot, and how he did have some Suits that were fighting for him, but that it was back in the snail mail days. So he reads a P.O. box and the guy's name says, write letters to the head of fucking ABC or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, it was cool. But at the same time, it was also like, fuck this. We're still up against this bullshit now.
Right.
But in the internet age or whatnot. But I laughed so hard at the first episode with the lady with the eye patch.
Yes. Nadine. Yeah. She's amazing.
Because you forget how he had those funny little fucked up things in every, like the homeless lady in Mulholland Drive.
That's terrifying. That's what I mean by the sound, right? Yeah. The sounds leading up to that. If in the theater he requested, there was one of those things people were sharing online. You might have seen it too, that he was requesting Mulholland Drive be boosted 3DB. So when I rewatched it, I'm like, all right, I'm going to crank this fucker. Man, that part is terrifying when that person behind the Winky's Diner or whatever, that scene is terrifying. It's terrifying. Yeah. And I don't know why. Is he just telling you this story and you're like, all right, what's going to be back there? And that fucking thing's back there.
Yeah. And you got to read and watch interviews with the actress who played.
I have not. Yeah.
You have to.
Those? Okay, I will. Because
she had like these just incredible interactions with the guy. I mean,
I can imagine. I can only imagine. He's so unique.
But let me go back to the chat here.
Sure.
And of course, if we want to, actually, Mike, let's watch the credit scene. Let's watch Sybil Danning's.
Yeah.
Enough about David Lynch. Let's go back to tits.
Yes. Well, there's great tits in Lost Highway, like Patricia Arquette. Like, good God, my friend. The end of Mulholland Drive. There's great tits. I mean,
just share it, Mike. Just share it on the screen. Let's just watch it. Let's just watch the Howling 2. Your sister is a werewolf. End credit scene. Can you share the screen and I'll talk?
One second. I gotta pull it back up.
Okay.
That's hilarious.
While we're waiting for him to pull that up, I just want to say there's another good one to watch, and it's Patricia Arquette. Or no, is it Patricia or the other one? It's Escape from Dannemora.
I don't know that one.
It's a series. It's a true story about these guys who escaped from jail and they were banging one of the COs, and she helps them get out. It's Benicio del Toro. I think it's Patricia Arquette, not Rosanna. Are you thinking of Rosanna? No, or Patricia?
I'm thinking Patricia Arquette in Lost Highway.
Yes,
Well, from the same woman from True Romance.
Yes.
Another great tit scene.
You know, there's something great about people who don't fix their teeth. I have such a respect for people who just stick with the teeth that God gave them. And Patricia Arquette is definitely one of those.
Does she have bad teeth or is it her sister? I can't remember.
I think it's her. Mike, what happened with the end credits scene? You shared the link.
Here we go.
Okay, here we go. So look, see, GBH is in the background.
Wow, see, that's cool.
So is that how we got on this? Because we were talking about stuff in the background.
I think you started talking about Tubi, and I don't recall exactly, but I don't know how we.
Right, because the Chimaira poster was on the wall.
Yes. Oh yeah, here we go. Yes.
So this is in the credits. Shout out to Christopher Lee, by the way.
I listen to this ridiculous record every year.
It starts to get ridiculous, Mike. Yeah, right. They just keep looping it. So if you happen to just wait until, like, why?
His eyes. This is the editor just fucking having a blast. You know, imagine being in the cutting room right now. Like, they were laughing so hard, coked up. Like, there's no doubt in my mind.
Right? Christopher Lee, I looked this up. I don't know if this is 100% true, but I think he was in World War II and he was like killing Nazis and shit. Like, dude was a badass and then just became an actor.
Wow.
And became,
the Wicker Man.
Yeah. He's in Lord of the Rings too, right?
Yeah. And he's in a lot of great shit. A lot of great 70s horror too, like those vampire movies and stuff. He was Dracula. And awesome career. His Christmas record is dope. Like his Drummer Boys. Have you checked that out?
Oh, I need that on vinyl?
I don't know if it exists. I'm sure it does.
Mike says Bloodsucking Freaks is on Pluto.
Okay, perfect.
I don't think I have Pluto. What is that? Is that just another?
I think it's one of those free ones, but yeah, if you sign up.
It's like Tubi.
Yeah.
Warren Lassiter says, I have a soft spot for Howling 6. I didn't even know there was a 6.
I didn't know they got up that far. Let me see which ones I have. I have a bunch on my Plex. I don't know how far I got with him.
Sam Angeli says, you've probably talked about this a million times, but how was it fronting Lamb of God? Thank God you did that, because if someone didn't step up and do that, I felt like I was going to get pressured into it. And I was like, I do not want to be the brunt of the internet if I fuck up or if the prompter fucks up. But you didn't even use a prompter.
No. That was
you went raw dog. You raw dogged it.
Sort of. I had cue cards, luckily.
Right.
I wrote
cheat sheets.
Yeah. But they were like giant poster boards, essentially, that my wife luckily had great penmanship, because when I started to write it, it was awful. And then she like took over and did it all. It was a very gratifying experience. I didn't have time to think about it. I didn't even think, was this a good idea? Should I do this? So I got the call from Mark, and what I'm hearing on the phone is a friend that needs a favor. I'm not paying attention to what's being asked. I'm not thinking about what's being asked of me. I'm like, yeah, man, I'll be there, whatever you need. And as I'm driving towards Grand Rapids, it's about 5.5 hours for me. The gravity of the situation started to hit me, because I'm looking at these songs and the lyrics, and like, I like Lamb of God, but I'm not someone that listens to them in the sense where I'm going to be singing all the lyrics. I don't know any of the lyrics. I know like parts, and I know like key phrases, and some of the songs that were on the list I hadn't even heard. So, I just went for it, and it was a nonstop. I just put my headphones on. I'm listening to it, reading along on Google lyrics essentially, flipping. I had every page open in tabs and I would just go and like hit it. And then when I got there, I didn't want to talk to anybody really. I just sat down, I listened, and I just performed. I fake performed in the dressing room the whole time.
You have to do that. Yep.
Because
repetition. Yeah.
Yeah. And then an hour before the show, like I actually then started to just actually perform it, like to like get my voice a little warmed up and make sure I was going to be able to do it. And then I got on stage and like, I felt like an idiot because they had the kabuki up and I went up too early and you could tell I was up there too early. If you know what I mean? You're just like kind of standing there like, oh shit. Like
now you're ruminating.
Yeah. Like 20 seconds has gone by. I'm up there just way too long. But it went off without a hitch. When I look back at it, what I would be able to do better if I would have been able to perform the second show is I would have been able to move around a lot more. Randy has such a great back and forth presence, and I would have tried to start to emulate that a little better. But day one, I was so focused on the lyrics and the cadence and the performance of giving the fans at least like what they wanted to hear. But they might not be able to get exactly everything they wanted to see. Like Randy's an animal. I wouldn't have been able to imitate it, but at least I would have been able to not be such a scarecrow, I guess, for lack of a better term. I felt like I was cemented to the ground because I had, I think it was laid to rest. I'm like, look, this is a dissertation. These aren't lyrics.
Yes.
This is
yes.
I'm like, what am I doing here?
You're saying everything that I was like, fuck that too. I didn't have the heart to say that to Mark on the phone. And I knew I was letting him down greatly and that I was probably going to be, I knew I was probably going to be the doghouse for a while. But everybody's getting the calls, right? Like, Five Finger Death Punch has hit me up before. Other bands have hit me up before. And I do honestly feel bad because, you want to rise to the occasion. And I give you so much credit for doing that, especially driving out to fucking Grand Rapids and dropping whatever you're doing in the moment. Whatever, having to get pet sitters or whatever. Yep. Because that was another thing with me. It was like I finally was home for a fucking 2-day stretch type of thing. And I was like, are you kidding me? And then I'm thinking, fuck the Mujahideen, and I'm thinking of contractor words. I'm trying to think of words. I'm trying to think of 11th Hour and songs that I know. Yeah. And I was pulling them out, but I definitely was thinking, I'm going to want to strangle every kid on my Instagram. I was like, why is he just standing there? Right. Why is he they don't understand just how much work would go into it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I cannot give these people the satisfaction of seeing me in a compromised position, fronting one of the biggest metal bands in the world in a fucking small arena or whatever it was. I don't even know where the venues were, but it seemed like a lot of pressure, which only people who are not real fans would want to critique.
Sure. I think the gravity of the situation hit me after because I vomited uncontrollably for an entire day, and that's why I missed the second show. That they wanted me to do another one, and I wasn't able to do it. And then Randy missed, I think, 3 shows or something like that. And they got Joe from Fit for an Autopsy to fill in for me after I got sick. But man, I've never been so sick in my life. I grew up with a genetic vomiting disorder called cyclical vomiting, and I had it when I was like 8 years old, and it affected me around like my parents getting divorced. So I think like when I'm under like extreme pressure, this manifests, and I vomit uncontrollably to the point where I have to go to the hospital. Oh my God. It happened to me when the band got robbed in Mexico, and I had to take a whole flight home, like just puking. But yeah, so it was so stressful. It flared it up, and I was unable to make the second gig. And that I've never felt like I disappointed people so much in my life. It haunted me until Lamb of God asked us to go on the cruise. I was like, oh, these guys aren't mad at me. like I felt like I let the whole world down, the whole industry, and it turned out, you know how those guys are.
Yeah.
But when you're living in your head like that, like you fucked up something, and unintentionally or not, you still feel like you disappointed the fans, agents, other bands.
Yes.
Lamb of God. I felt that whole pressure, and in one way it was horrifying, but in another way it gave me like strength to like really like get that stomach issue under control and learn how to deal with stress better. And it just affected me in a total different way, in a positive way. So, I have to say the entire experience was fantastic. To sum it up, too long didn't read.
Well, and it led for you guys being on Milwaukee Metal Fest. It led to that.
And here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
we are
because they were
right now.
They were the ones that hit me up like, dude, Chimaira killed it on the cruise. You got to get him on Milwaukee Metal Fest. And it just all started happening from there. But, a lot of that stuff, it makes me think 99% of the game is mental, right? It really, because I got called, I think it was for SoFi Stadium, Fight for Death Punch opening for Metallica. So then I call Howard. I'm like, did you get the call? He's like, yeah, I got the call too. And I said, are you going to do it? And I thought, you know what? Howard's right for that, because I'm going to need a prompter. I'm going to need in-ears. He's got more of a baritone voice like Ivan. I can do it in the studio if I get 1 or 2 or 3 takes,
sure.
But live in front of a stadium opening for Metallica.
That'd be so, that's a lot to think about.
Yeah, and it's on the fly. It's like very short notice. So it was a similar situation where, just like you, I was like, oh man, I'm letting down Zoltan and Jackie and Ivan, all these people I love, and Chris Kale, and I'm like, fuck. But yeah, they get it. Everybody gets it. It's a lot of pressure, and it's a lot of homework, and a lot of just. But now stay ready, so you don't have to get ready. So just
man, you want to talk about being not in show shape? It was awful.
Yeah, because this was before.
Yeah,
Chimaira started playing again.
Yeah, we hadn't played, but it helped fuel, the passion. After that, I wanted to put together. I noticed Impossibility of Reason was turning 20, so we put together a couple of shows, and that helped. And next thing you know, we're all right. That's it. In 2024, we're getting asked to do shows. All right, that's it. 2025, here we go. Now this is the most shows we have booked so far. So it's a great feeling. All of us want to do more. It's just a matter of getting us in the gate, essentially.
Well, now you got me. Now my brain is going about March Metal Meltdown, because I got a picture of me with Matt Heafy's like 10, and then I got a picture with Glenn Benton, and now I'm thinking, shit, we get All Out War, we'll get them on there. There was another band I was going to mention to you too that I saw just recently was getting back together, and they hit us up for Milwaukee Metal Fest, but we were Dry Kill Logic. Did you guys ever play with them?
No, I think we're playing with them the first time, but they were on Roadrunner, and their first record was out at the same time, so they were kind of getting the same push in the similar circles, same kind of like, you remember the CD samplers and shit and like that. They were on the same era that we were. So I remember the band, but we never crossed paths, but we will on one of these fests that we're doing this year, but not Milwaukee, obviously.
Right on. Yeah, I was open to it, but I thought, oh, maybe for March Metal Meltdown. But I got to stop talking about these ideas on the podcast because
then you want to hit them with a nice surprise.
Well, and also we can't compete with these ginormous stadium festivals and stuff. It's just too hard. I mean, we're a ballroom and a club and a bar.
But that's I don't know if it's a competition. It's a complete different thing. I mean,
well, it is.
I don't know. I look at. Sorry.
It is because they want the fees. The bands want the fees that they get on the stadium shows, right? Because they just look at it as like another show. So it's technical. And then if they have radius clauses. Sometimes it can be exclusive to the entire country or the entire region. So, but yeah, no, it's not like I saw you guys did Incarceration, right? That you must have just leveled the place, but that would be, you'd have to do it, and you can't do like a hometown show or a Columbus show, right? You have
we have radius clause. Yeah. So when we look at something like Incarceration, we have to take in those factors because Cleveland is basically the easiest market for us to make money in and not have to spend a lot of money. As you know, doing shows nowadays and touring nowadays is a lot more expensive. So economically speaking, it's the best for us to do, but we can't just do that for the rest of our lives either. So venturing out we did really well in Incarceration. So therefore we were asked to do other festivals and it made sense. We weren't going to do it though. Like anything, this year was very difficult and for me to leave and the cruise, we actually, when we were on Headbanger's boat, it was like, I was asking Rob, like, are you done? And he was kind of like, well, I always think about retiring. And I'm like, well, here's the deal, man. We just got asked to do a couple of festivals and so that's how we're not thinking, a lot of bands are planning stuff a year out. And I mean, we're not doing any of that. As opportunities present themselves, we look at it. And if it makes sense for the group to do, then great. When I think about Milwaukee Metal Fest, I think about growing up and always wanting to play it because the name is iconic and it was always associated with bands that I loved. And it's cool because now getting a chance to play it, it's the same feeling. I can remember myself being 17 years old, listening to Down, delivering pizza, playing air drums in my car. Like, this is the heaviest riff I have ever heard in my life. Like, I will feel the same way that night. Like, I have not disconnected with that human, and like the chance to be able to experience and say like I was a part of it. That's pretty surreal to me and very cool. SOD as well. Like the songs you're getting to jam. Like, oh man, I love that album. And even Live at Budokan, like I remember that as well. And I had the VHS. So, I mean, I'm a fan and getting a chance to play with these bands is a cool opportunity, a fantastic opportunity. And the name coming back to life and everything, that's very cool. I wish I had a better adjective than cool. I feel like I said that like 4 times in a row.
Well, no, you guys are gonna have a great time. No, everybody's really pumped, and that was awesome to see the enthusiasm because there are a lot of people that I'm sure, especially in Indiana and some parts of Michigan and Kentucky and Ohio and other places that travel to see you when you did Incarceration. But there were a lot of people from Chicago and Minnesota and other areas closer to Milwaukee that didn't get the chance. And then there's people that were on the cruise that were always planning on going to both, which was really cool to see too. But when you get there and you walk the steps or you're backstage, you definitely still get the feeling from the old days. It's got that energy. Good. Except they do have a better PA now. They have brand new PA and they do have air conditioning. So it's not like
good.
It's not like how it was back in the day in July or whenever. I mean, we did it one time where it's like, oh my God, it was so fucking hot in there. But it is the best weekend of the year. That's why we do it. I was just talking to Tim and before we got on this and I was saying, the people that say this is the best weekend of their life, that's why we do it. And this is looking like it's going to be like that again. And yeah, we're stoked that you guys are going to be there. And I got to get, what was the guy? I was going to bust Jim's balls and be like, whatever happened to that pizza guy? Are we going to get his ass out there? Like, what was the pizza in Cleveland that every time I'm on the bus, like it's always when I'm trying to start a new diet.
Absolutely. So his brother runs a chain called Master Pizza.
Yes. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no worries.
I was spacing.
But what's interesting about that is, aside from the chain, his brother does all these like crazy pizza competitions. They fly him all over the world, and he competes against like the best pizza makers out there, and he wins. Like, yes. It's crazy.
Yes, and we had a band last year that they had pizza songs and everything, and I was like, I got to connect them with Jim's brother.
Yes, for sure.
But he doesn't have a location in Chicago or Milwaukee that you know of?
No, it's just in Northeast Ohio. He took over the franchise from somebody maybe 10, 15 years ago and then expanded it. They might have been like 4 or 5, and he's well over a dozen by this point, and it does really well.
Right on.
Yeah, we know how to do pizza over here. Like, everybody looks like we eat a lot of pizza too. It's fantastic.
Oscar Brummett from Patreon says, Chimaira and Hatebreed were mainstays on my quote-unquote school shooter playlist. Thank you for getting me through the worst time of my life.
God.
Jeez, Oscar. I shouldn't have said your last name here, just in case.
Good God.
But thank you, Oscar. I guess it's, hey, listen, man, it's tough out there. I would imagine it's even harder nowadays to just get through the actual fucking day. Especially for the kids that are just glued to the social media and the news and whatever else. Paul Fairley says, yeah, I can't wait for this. A question for Mark. There was rumors that the anniversary shows for Impossibly were recorded. Is there a plan to release them?
I actually just got back from the studio. We were finishing the mix and master for the live Impossibility show. We did it 2 years ago. It's taking forever. But for the fans, I had a personal thing happen last year with a family member, so I wasn't able to tend working on the edit or any of the mixing. So I'm the reason that there's a delay, but now it's back in order and back on track. And I hope we can release it this year. That's the plan. The edit for the concert as well. We want to put it on streaming platforms. So I would love that. And
that would be great.
Yeah. And we also want to do some physical media though, as well, because I'm a fan of it. And I know that a lot of metalheads are still supporters of it, thankfully. And so we'll do a limited run of you can actually get it in. We shot it in like 6K or something. So it looks really fantastic. And I sound like Trump. It's fantastic. It's beautiful. Why am I saying fantastic? I don't ever say that word. Anyway, I probably heard him on the news say that word, and now it's just in my fucking subconscious all of a sudden.
It looks
I'm looking for a better word than cool. Anyway.
So if we get it in 6K and we put it on the big screen or whatever, like I just bought some ignorant like 65 or 75 inch TV. Yes. It'll look sick on that.
Absolutely. You'll be able to play it on your Xbox or PlayStation, so you don't have to go out and buy a DVD, Blu-ray player or anything. Or you can stream it on Tubi, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean,
that would be the goal.
You should see the credit sequence for
I can
Howling 2 on this fucking new TV.
Yeah.
What if we had screens at Milwaukee Metal Fest and you're playing and you look back and it's just Sybil Danning from Howling 2?
I would love it. Please.
Hey everybody, it's Jamey letting you know today's episode is brought to you by Blue Grape Music. Big thanks to our official Milwaukee Metal Fest sponsor and Jasta Show sponsor, Blue Grape Music. Head on over to bluegrapemusic.com after the podcast today. I recommend checking out the bands like Gridiron, Heavy Hitter, etc. But they have a bunch of great signings over there, and they have some big new signings that are about to be announced that I wish I could tell you, but we can't just yet. But anyways, check out bluegrapemusic.com. They're going to have a stage at Milwaukee Metal Fest named for the label, which is absolutely kicking ass right now. Their first signing was Code Orange, but now they have a bunch of new acts. You'll see it all when you head on over to store.bluegrapemusic.com. Pre-order the Gridiron Poetry from Pain. You'll see they have vinyl, they have t-shirts. You can also check out Super Heaven and a bunch of other awesome new music. Big thanks to bluegrapemusic.com. While I have you, today's episode is also brought to you by Reigning Phoenix Music. That's right, the label that is home to Kerry King, Deicide, Meshuggah, and more. And right now you can pre-order the new records from both INCITE, Shout out to INCITE, killer band. You know, it's Max Cavalera, stepson Richie. Shout out to Richie. Their new album, Savage New Times, is coming out August 25th, and you can pre-order now at rainingphoenixmusic.com. And while you're there, maybe you pick up the new Onslaught, Origins of an Aggression, legendary UK thrash, or pre-order Meshuggah Immutable, the Indelible Edition. You can pre-order that now. rainingphoenixmusic.com. Now back to the show.
We always have this. Again, back to competition. Well, I guess it's not competition, but it's demand for screens, for PA, for gear, for backline. Because one year we did it Memorial Day weekend. Another year we did it the weekend of like the Indy 500, where they needed all these lighting trusses and all the screens. And we're like, we're gonna have to bust this in. And so we ended up not doing screens, which I prefer playing festivals that have the screens. If you know there's not going to be weather issues, there's not going to be wind issues, because then you don't have to bring the backdrop, and you can just send a file, or you can send an animated thing. Like we have a Barbarian, and we have a bunch of animations and stuff. But yeah, one of these years. Oh, I was going to say also for next year, for 2026, there is a band from Europe. They haven't played America. I can't say the band, but I'm literally going to sell everything I own to get their visas and to get this band over here. And I think, depending on how much money I raise, I might just put up the cash myself for the screens.
Oh, wow.
Because this band is going to need like video and stuff.
Is it the Kelly family?
No.
Do you remember that infomercial in the 90s? I'm in love with an alien.
Were they European?
Yeah, it was. I think so. I don't even know what they. I'm sorry. I don't mean to derail you like that. I just.
No, Mike's gotta play that now. That's how fucking. If you can find the Kelly family infomercial, you have to play that now. But because here's the thing: we're all limited by the budget. We all want to do fucking awesome shit, but awesome shit costs a lot of money. And then when you bring what you think is awesome shit to people with the money, they don't think it's awesome shit, or it's not enough return on investment for them to float your awesome shit idea.
Right.
Does that make sense?
No, it absolutely makes sense. We struggle with that because we want to be more of a visual band that has more mood lighting and video representations of what we are. And basically what we did for our May shows, or our last Christmas shows, is exactly the type of band we want to present ourselves as. But we can't always have that. And so you just adapt to what's available. And I liked playing Incarceration. It was the polar opposite of what we did in May of the previous year. There was no lights. It's just outside. It felt like I brought out that Ozfest energy, would be the best way to describe it, where, I haven't brought that guy out in a while. And so it's just a different vibe. So I like adapting to the circumstance. Then the crew's completely different. And each night was different. So that you just try to do what you can with the show. And the fans, I don't think, care. But when you can lock it in and when you can afford to do the show that your band wants to do, then it just, in my opinion, it's just how it's supposed to be. But you can't always have it that way. So, I don't think, though, like the fans going to notice if like you have a house light guy one time, though, and he's like missing cues. They don't care. Right. We are the only ones that notice that sort of thing. And for whatever reason, we're insecure about it. So I've learned to adapt to not sweat that stuff. I think, earlier on, it was very important, because I think earlier on in bands, you're trying to get ahead and you're trying to graduate to other venues so you can put on, I guess, the show you have in your mind. Whether you get there or not is another story.
Right. I mean, there's bands, there's scenes that they just want to play like with the house lights on, no stage. And there's something beautiful about that too, right?
Sure.
It's to each their own. I'm sure you probably were thinking some of that stuff too when you're editing and listening to the mix and stuff too, right? Like maybe you want to fix this little thing, or maybe you want to go, oh, you know what? Let's raise this, but the fan wouldn't care that the snare was slightly off on that one or whatever, right? Like, then you want to nitpick each thing, and
we learned that really early on. And what a great representation was that Slipknot's first album, and our producer Ben pulled it out a couple times. He would be like, just listen to the energy, how great this song is. But if you want to sit there and pick apart like the playing, you can do that because it's not fixed. It's not doctored. Those guys are really playing it, and they're playing it in a room. But from a technical standpoint, it's not precision. It's not what maybe the artist is trying to create. And what Ben was trying to let us know was like, none of that precision or getting that snare a little louder is going to fucking matter. What matters is the song. Do you guys have a song here? Like, this is the stuff that the energy, the song, the essence. Nobody gives a fuck about the mix. I mean, unless it sounds like Lulu or something. I don't know.
What band did he go on to be in? Because didn't we do an Oscars with Switched with the One.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
The inside of my soul.
The bands with the numbers that weren't SR71 and some 41.
Yeah.
Were largely new metal or new metal-esque or radio rock or what the kids today would call, I don't know, dad rock or whatever.
Race rock.
Right. Yeah. Right. Because there was Primer 55,
Apartment 26,
Apartment. Yes.
Factory 81.
Factory 81. There was a lot. Yeah. Shout out. Maybe one of those will get back together in like 30 years and be like as big or bigger than like with Acid Bath or like with Refused, or even if you look at the Gates is a different scenario because at the Gates, when they went away, just everybody got into it and it was just word of mouth and they created like full bands.
Yeah.
Like just an entire scene of bands just based off Slaughter of the Soul.
I know.
That could happen.
Yeah. Even our band for Impossibility, we were chasing the Slaughter of the Soul guitar sound. Essentially, we really thought that was, so we had heard that they had mic'd it a certain way, and like one guy scooped the mids, and these are all just folklore. We couldn't Google this at the time.
They mic'd the back of the cabinet.
Yeah, so we're just trying to do all this folklore bullshit. Like, at the end of the day, it's going to sound like the guitarist who's playing it a lot of times.
It's so much in the hands. It really is.
Yeah.
Andy Wilson in the chat here pointed out a glaring omission from our
40 Below Summer. Of course. How can I forget them? We toured with 40 Below and Factory 81. We really felt out of place. Like, I thought we should have been like Chimaira 316 or something. Like,
yeah. So before we get out of here, one thing I wanted to mention, which I think we'll probably get a lot of YouTube comments about, and I know we got some messages on here about, is any plans for the UK or Europe? And why was it that you guys kind of more focused when you were active, you focused more on the UK and not so much like Europe, Scandinavia, South America?
I think that let's start off the first question. We would love to go back. I feel like we owe those fans some shows anyway. And the band imploded before we had an entire tour booked, and the band imploded, so we weren't able to fulfill some shows, and I always feel bad about that. So I would love to go back and have another opportunity to even enjoy it, right? I think when we were younger, I had a hard time enjoying Europe, but as I'm older, I'm more mature and can appreciate things differently. So I would love to get back, and I wouldn't count it out. The rest of the guys in the band want to go back as well. 2025, I think you're seeing the shows that we have booked is your best opportunity to see us. But for next year, I think we would like to do that. We focused on the UK because Roadrunner at the time was an extremely juggernaut, I guess. They were a force to be reckoned with in the UK, and they had a great system in play for promoting their bands. And we went from like playing some venue in like Shreveport or Calhoun, where there's like, 100 people like, yeah, man, fucking love y'all. So you go to the UK and you're like the Beatles, and there's kids just down the street, and you're doing signings that last, hours. And this is like insane. And it has so much to do with Roadrunner UK and the staff that worked there at the time, and getting us on all of those magazines and interviews in the press. And I think the fans over there just really gravitated towards it. We struggled in Europe. We didn't really get so many opportunities to support larger acts. We did get opportunities to play festivals, and those always were really well received. But I think that we didn't do our job in being consistent in touring ourselves. I think this is overall in the whole world. We weren't good at becoming a headliner. We spent a lot of time supporting and not really focusing on how to become a headliner. And that hurt the areas as well. So, if I were to analyze it, I guess that would or maybe this Germany just doesn't like us. I don't know. It could be simple as that.
Like, I could see going back now and doing like the Grass Pops and the Hellfest and the Summer Breeze and the Watkins and having a great response, especially because then it would be, a way for those fans that are spread out to make their plans for that weekend and hit that festival. And there's a lot of bands that do very well there in that setting. Like Heaven Shall Burn is a great example. They just stick, if they're going to go to the UK or Scandinavia, I think they'll support like a Trivium or support In Flames or something, but then they put on a big show in like Germany or Holland or Belgium and can be at the top or right below, a Korn or whatever. So yeah, you probably just have to kind of copy their strategy and just try to get those ones where you get the right billing and you get the right fee to cover the show and to cover the flights. And, but it can be done. And it's, there's nothing wrong with deadlining. I'm a big fan of being the deadliner. And we've done it. You'll get the call and it's like, okay, you got to play after Iron Maiden, or you got to play after, and you're on some other side stage or whatever as the crowd is leaving, but sometimes you get a higher fee. Like we've had to do it, and actually sometimes it can be really good. Like one time it was us right before Down on the main stage, and then Carcass was deadlining, in the woods down the road or whatever. And we all went over there, took vans and go-karts and shit to go watch Carcass, and it was fucking sick. And people were, moshing into trees and shit, and we're like, this is awesome. So sometimes that can be good too. You don't always have to be on the main stage. I mean, I prefer it.
Same.
But one time we did it where it was a total commercial pop and rap fest. And on the main stage was like Diplomats and Mary J. Blige. And
that'd be so cool.
Three Doors Down. They were talking about some good old boys from Shreveport or whatever.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, love y'all.
They were raging. They were like, Hatebreed.
Yeah, man.
We're on the same label. They were great. But then us and Neurosis are like in the woods on some other fucking stage at 3 a.m.
Yes.
And it was bonkers. But
I just saw Carcass on the boat, and I don't care like where you are in that room in the venue, wherever you stood, the guitars were just so perfect.
Yeah.
Like the tone, I don't know how they get it so precise. An album, it replicates from the album so perfectly. With a house sound guy, I'm just so baffled. And then again, we can go back to the hands and like,
it's the bell bottoms.
Yes. Well, that was it probably. Actually, I didn't even think of that. Damn
What a legend. We just did a whole tour with him. So it was like, some days I would look out and I would see him in the crowd and I would just go, fucking love that guy. What a legend. What a fucking great guy. I mean, shit.
So many, I could go on and on about that band.
Yeah, for sure. We used to have a lot of Carcass at the Gates arguments on the bus.
Okay.
Shout out to Anders, our drum tech. Shout out to Frank. Frank is all about Carcass. Well, but Frank is also kind of like, he's like an elitist. Let's be real. Like he likes the Morbid Angel demo with Mike Browning singing, I like, he's one of those guys. I like the demo. So he's like, after Necrotism, like he didn't even like Heartwork. Like he's like,
oh, come on.
Yeah.
Too that's too purist for me.
Right. I mean,
he wrote some of the riffs, some of the greatest riffs to ever come out of this city. So I can't argue.
Agreed. Yeah. A Cleveland via Florida. Like when you leave Cleveland and you stop shoveling, you don't get the same.
Nah, he's just a snowbird. That is all it is. He's just a snowbird. He's still a Clevelander. We own that. We have to own those riffs. Come on.
Yeah. I get it. See, over here, when I'm suffering shoveling in the snow in Connecticut, I'm always like, why the fuck am I doing this? Especially I have this like little beater snow blower now, but it's a Toro and I won't get rid of it. It's like the old school beater one. I don't know what one you use.
You're talking old school. I go with the hand and the shovel. I seriously do. It's the only exercise I get in the winter.
My driveway's crooked in some spots, so I can't use this. So I have to do the shovel too. I probably have to fix the driveway. Anyways, so that'll be great. If Bloodstock hears this or Download hears this, shout out to Andy, shout out to Vicky, call Chimaira. And
we've been, asked to do Bloodstock, and I keep feeling bad that I do need. That's one we've been asked to do, and I've had to say no. Unfortunately, it's just a timing thing, and I hope we get to do more things now. I think the band's a better mental spot. Financially, we can afford to do it. The kids are grown up for a lot of these guys. That was a big factor why we stayed home. So I would like to see us do way more festivals, and Bloodstock is one that I would like to look at a lot, just because if anything, they've asked first, right?
And if you're going to do any of them, that's one of the best ones, if not the best one to do.
Oh, awesome.
For sure. I've done it many times, and they're just, the people are the best, the crowd, the Vicky and Alan, the whole Hunger for Family, everybody. Yeah, it's just, you guys you'll just kill it. You'll fucking annihilate that place. It's been so long too, where you'll have that energy build up and the people will be just,
right.
You'll have that collective consciousness and that release together, and it'll be, that might be the one that you gotta, even if the other offers are bigger, you might have to just take that one just based off the quality of the show. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I like bands that will prioritize lower paydays for the better show, right? For the better reaction, for the better, and maybe you make it up on the merch, or you make it up just in morale or just in energy. You carry that memory longer. It's not one and done and forgotten about.
Yeah, no, I get it. The whole thing with this industry keeping us, I guess, from doing a lot of the stuff was, I think, financial mistakes, So I think that you can easily spend too much money on production or something, and then, like we discussed earlier, at the end of the day, it doesn't even fully matter, right? So I think if we're going to play a lot of these festivals, we just have to understand that it's the placement and the time of the day dictates what we're going to do, right? Like, if we're playing at 3:45, the last thing we need to do is budget for a light guy and bring lights, and there's no reason. So we can then look at it financially like, okay, well, we can do it based on this. The thing that's difficult for us with touring, because we don't tour, so a lot of our stuff is one-offs, and then we don't live next to each other. I think just to put it into perspective for a fan to understand like how much things cost, it was like something around like 10 grand to rehearse.
Yeah.
For our last show. With flights, hotels for a week, paying people that, and this is as trying to be as low, put the guy at the extended stay, 2-star, we're trying to cut corners here and there, but like, it's just shit costs money. Like if you fly somebody from Austin to LA to Cleveland to get there, you're looking at $700 right off the rip, right? Yeah. Like, so it's costly, and we're trying to afford to do it, but it's also like if we go on tour, we have to have realistic expectations. We're going to want to play some shows that are low key, if you will. Like, we were actually considering playing like a very small venue in Cleveland, kind of just to do the exact opposite of what we did in Cleveland and have no pressure to put on a big show and spend 30 grand just to look cool.
That would be fun. Do the garage.
But the venue closed down, and it's all right. Now we're just gonna move on and like think of something, do something completely different. But
what was the best Cleveland venue? If you had, if you had to narrow it down, because I loved playing the Odeon.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I saw so many great bands there, and then from a performance perspective, it was a good size stage. It wasn't too small, it's Goldilocks stage, if you will, and the sound system it resonated really well. So you felt that like good tight kick, resonance and hit you in the chest. Where like the Gore is boomy,
yep,
and Peabody's. Your gear is in a puddle of piss. My side is a little too loud, if anything, in Peabody's. So I think Odeon was like a good Goldilocks venue. It was a good size, only by 1,200 cap maybe. So it wasn't too hard to even if 500 people in there looked really, really good. And so I miss that. I think some people have tried to do some shows over the years, but it's just continuously failed, unfortunately. But the venue's still there.
They're still open?
Not regularly, but they've tried to do shows like in the past year and stuff. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
what
the
about
whole area? The Fantasy?
I never played there.
It was awful. We started there.
It was awful.
But like, so the stage was half a foot at best. But the problem why it was awful, it was one of those venues that was 2 or 3 flights up with stairs and no lift. So if you're idiot young band like us trying to bring a 8x12 of
2 Ampegs.
Yeah, exactly. Wall of cabs. It was frustrating. And then they had the house guy, that fumbled around trying to mic things up properly. But the shows were, you can't really complain about them. That was a legendary like industrial venue though. So it was different when hardcore shows would kind of collide with the scene there that were regulars. So we might come in and play a hardcore show, and there might be a group of goths that you all of a sudden just made fans because they just happened to go there regularly to listen to Marilyn Manson when it was not having bands play there. So they would just show up, and like, it was interesting venue. Like Manson played there, Nails played there, and maybe it only held like 300, 400, I don't know how many, but it wasn't a huge venue at all.
Yeah, no, I love a venue with a built-in audience. Like just
that's a great way to put it. Yep.
That was so cool getting to play some of those places. What about Chimaira Mushroom Head? Has that been done?
Yes.
In Cleveland once?
One time. We
Just
called it
once.
we called it the Kings of Cleveland show, and we're still embarrassed about our shirt because we put an apostrophe in Kings. So you ever fuck up a shirt like that?
Yeah. Yes. That's what do those go on eBay for?
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever even seen one, to be honest with you. But that was a good gig. Two hilarious Spinal Tap moments happened to us at that gig. That was the first time we ever wanted to use confetti. And Brian, our awesome light guy, he's like, all right, yeah, we got confetti. I think he used it with In Flames, and he was telling us all about it and got us all excited. And it was probably about 20 years ago, right around this time, we had just released the self-titled, and we were excited to play Nothing Remains, and the way the song is like, that's what we imagined, this whole big, we're like, yeah,
cannons,
fucking badass,
cannons of confetti going out over the crowd.
And it was like, and what really happened was offbeat, just a little. It's like, what the fuck, man? So we've still never even attempted it to this day. Like, tried to use confetti. No, I was like, come on, that was a big bust. So we kind of have.
Did you design the confetti? Because I remember picking up the Kiss confetti, and it was little dollar signs.
That's epic.
It was.
No, we didn't.
Little money signs. I was like, fucking epic. Yeah. So you could do like little C's.
Little chaos logos.
Yeah, the little logos. So would you do it again
with Mushroom Head?
Yeah.
There's no reason why we wouldn't. I think it's a cool gig for fans. We did it at it was called Nautica then. That's that outdoor one. I'm sure you've played Nautica. It's such a cool venue, and it's outdoors and by the river for fans that don't know. So it's a unique vibe. It's kind of like you're playing outside, but inside at the same time. The way they set it up is cool.
That's where Integrity, the back of the photo.
I have that shirt. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was there. That was Warped Tour.
Yeah.
They deadlined Warped Tour, as you would say.
Humanity is the devil photos.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's from them deadlining. We got an opportunity to play with Integrity. They played with us on our Impossibility of Reason show. So I've been a fan of Integrity's for a long time, and that's one of the most influential bands for Cleveland. But Dwid especially helped. He kind of showed me the ropes. Like, he showed me a lot of the inside workings of how bands work, and thanks to Integrity, like, just from down to printing shirts to, like, he used to print all of Integrity's shirts. He would design them and then print them. So I learned how to do all that because of him. And he did, he actually put, for our keyboardist and sampler, Chris, because of Psy Warfare and all of the noise projects he did, that was a big reason we incorporated synth. And industrial too. We're an industrial town, and Nails and Manson is in our DNA, but also Psy Warfare and the stuff that Steve Makita from Apartment 213 was doing. This had an impact on us as well. So DeWitt actually showed Spakuza like the type of equipment to get, essentially, to help us. And because our first label, East Coast Empire Records, was because of Integrity. So we owe a huge, huge chunk of our beginnings, upbringing and success to Dwid's, just being cool, being a nice dude. Yeah.
If you were to get Popson and Jeffrey back in Mushroom Head for one show, and you have Integrity on there too, that could do Blossom.
You might not be wrong about that. It'd be crazy.
Right? Like, that would be a banger.
You could at least do CSU. You could at least do that one.
Put Ringworm on the open, or
I love that.
Yeah, man. There you go. So now some promoter's going to rip that idea. God damn it.
Art.
incarceration. That's going to be a whole stage right there. 2026.
The 2026 stage. Well, yeah, they played. We just did with Mushroom Head. I forgot they were on Incarceration with us.
And no disrespect to the current Mushroom Head lineup. I don't know what they are. I don't know who's in it or what's in it. I'm just saying, just for the nostalgia.
Sure, there's a nostalgia to it.
Yeah, people love nostalgia. I was against nostalgia for a long time, and then the fans really got on me about it, and now I see it from a different lens, so to speak. So I know that look, Megadeth can go out and they'll pack it with Dave and whoever, but I get it when fans want to see, Marty jump up there and
absolutely.
Stuff.
That was a big thing with us. And I tried to continue, I should say, when the band imploded. And my biggest takeaway was like, I was working with amazing musicians and the songs were sounding killer and I had no problem with creating, but I would look over and I'm like, I don't know these dudes. Like, I've not climbed the mountains with these guys. I don't know them. And it feels hollow and I don't like it and I want out. And so if I were to do anything with this band, it has to be the guys I know and grew up with, because it just doesn't feel right in the soul. And so I'm grateful that we were able to like put aside our differences. I mean, it takes us forever, but I mean, that's how dudes are, It just takes a while. We don't want to open up our feelings or just get mad at you for no reason.
In defense of your differences, though, like, no, I don't remember anything. I can't name one fucking gripe or whatever. And I'm sure at the time you guys were so close, and I would literally see everybody somewhere at some point, multiple times throughout the year, and I'm sure we talked about it. Sure. And it's not that it was like one in one ear out the other. It just goes to show that the best times are usually now, and that type of stuff doesn't matter in a couple years. But I understand why fans get fixated on that stuff and want to constantly bring it up But that's commendable to you. That's cool to hear you say that. And I'm sure that energy is palpable, just especially from what I heard from the cruise alone. You're talking about a chemistry that you noticed, but then the fans, I think, also noticed. And it's not,
absolutely.
It's not, glass half empty or glass half full. It just is. It's something you can't really. And I not like I saw the classic Megadeth with Marty. I did. They played at Hartford, I think, right before Marty left. I think Seven Dust was opening. But I just toured with them, and everybody was great. Like Kiko was amazing, Dirk was amazing. So I understand the nostalgia thing. I understand that players change and some bands have revolving lineups, but what you're doing is very cool, and I commend you. And I love all your guys.
We didn't really. I think the reason you don't have any recollection of it is because we didn't really go through anything that tumultuous. I think that we burned out, and the economy. We were under that era when the economy started being like $4 for gas, and we didn't want to downgrade. And it felt to us downgrading at the time felt like we were failing, and not understanding the bigger picture. We felt like we were failing, and that really was like a plague that just spread throughout, it just turned into ugliness. And then I definitely, have to take some blame just for being bipolar and not knowing it. And that's not an excuse, but it helped explain to me, and to get on medication, like, why are these guys mad at me? And like, I truly just didn't understand it until I could kind of step back and absorb it and dissect it, and then like get help and like try to fix it. So to be able to now, it's been 2017. That's almost 8 years since we, started hanging out again and doing business together again. And it's been great. There's, we're all more mature. We're all so much more appreciative of what we get to do when we get to do it. And we literally treat every show like it's going to be the last. And, we look forward when we get a new opportunity presented to us. We look forward to it if it makes sense and excites us. And, that's why we're going to Milwaukee and why I'm here now. We're excited to be a part of that. We haven't been to that area in a long time, but Minnesota, Wisconsin, Chicago, like that little area.
Oh, we got people coming from Calgary, from Winnipeg.
Oh, wow.
We got people coming from Korea and Australia to see you guys.
That's
so
awesome.
We're excited too. And it's going to be a special night. Cause like you said, these shows are few and far between right now.
Correct.
And it's all the guys that the diehards want to see in the lineup. And
right.
We're pumped, man. Yeah. Thank you so much for the time, Mark. And
yeah, buddy. Good to see you.
You too. And so where can people order the vinyl? Where can people follow you and the band and just keep up with whatever other shows get announced? And where can people bug you about, doing Bloodstock?
Absolutely. It's very simple. Chimaira.com. We are boomers. So we have a website. I think we have
sign up for the email list.
Sign up for our email list, and we put a piece of paper out at the show with a pen, and you guys can write us send us a mail to our fan club. No, but seriously, the website Chimaira.com, everything's there. I stay busy on Twitch, Chimaira_Mark. I'm there most mornings, and I use that as a platform to A, hang out with fans, but B, during the pandemic, it was a great way to stay sane, but I also used it as a place to discover music and fall back in love with a lot of classics. So, a lot of the fans will keep me up to date with what's going on, and we'll listen to stuff together, and that's a really good time. So yeah, we're pretty easy to spot, and Jackie knows where to get in touch with me for Bloodstock. So I appreciate being here.
Thank you guys. Thanks so much, Mike, Mark, appreciate you. And everybody from Patreon, join us next week. I'll post the link. We're going to have a bunch of shows next week. I don't want to give it away just yet.
Sweet. And it's with the Kelly family.
Maybe I'll get Sybil Danning on here.
Yo!
She's 77, but dude, I believe it. While we were talking about
titties. Oh, look, there you go. Over the hump. That's a banger.
Wow, how many members were in the Kelly family?
Just imagine that. Imagine trying to book this for Milwaukee Metal Fest and the demands. Now somebody, their flautist needs their own room.
This was a cult or something, or this was a pyramid scheme.
You might be right on both. You might be right on both. I mean, I don't see why not.
Play it, Mike. I just got to hear what.
Over the hump. Het nieuwe album van de Kelly Family. In veel Europese landen al een gigantisch succes. The Kelly Family.
Oh, this was Money Laundering.
Money Laundering. Do you remember this? I feel like I'm one of the few people that do. I'm glad you remember it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
No, this was also sandwiched between Beautiful Mount Airy Lodge or
and Call Me Now.
Or what was that bullshit that they would scoop into water and stir? It was fake coffee. The fucking
Sanka?
Oh, Sanka was a banger. No, Sanka was actually Sanka was good. No, it was International Delights.
Oh, okay, yes.
Do you remember that?
I do remember that. But I can't. Now I want Sanka. I can't get Sanka out of my mind.
What about Postum? Did you ever have Postum?
No.
Did you ever have
Postum? What about peanut butter boppers? Nobody remembers these.
No, I never had those. What are those?
They were this. I think Kellogg's made them, but it was basically like a stick. It was chocolate and peanut butter, and that's basically it. And the only memory I have of it is that it existed is in Lost Boys.
Oh, I do remember these.
Grandpa's fridge. He opens it and he's got a box in there.
Yes, those were good.
Those are really good.
Do you remember Chico sticks?
You got to pull that up, man. You're pulling out all the. You are this connoisseur of the obscure. I love it.
Chico sticks was like a Butterfinger, like the center of a Butterfinger, but except I think it had coconut around it.
Oh, I'd be into that. Anything sweet. That's all I eat.
I'm sure it was
terrible with it.
It was straight poison, I'm sure.
I would love it then.
But International Delights, I doubt they still sell it. It came in like French vanilla. Look,
no, I never saw that.
There's the Chico stick. We used to call it Chico stick, but it's a Chico stick. What about International Delights, Mike? Last one you pull up. Sorry, I know.
Can we get International Delight on our rider for Milwaukee Metal Fest?
Dude, you'll be wired. You'll be tired and wired. International Delights. It was like they used to have full print ads in the paper and shit. I don't know what, because it was probably 100% profit because it was just garbage, sugar, cocoa, and like fucking wood or something, like paint chips or something.
Wood chips, exactly.
But you would remember I think you would remember the.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cafe Vienna.
Yes. I never had this. I was not a coffee drinker until about 15 years ago, so I never got a chance. But, dude, yeah.
One sip of that Swiss mocha and you're on the fucking lift going into the mountains with your skis on.
Get Gail on it. Was that her name?
I'm sure that these are in somebody's like prepper bunker still, because there's no way they would go bad because it's just 100% chemicals. Well, Mark, it's been a lot of fun. Thank you so much for the time, brother. We'll see you May 16th. Everybody get your tickets to therave.com/metalfest, and we'll be back next week.
Awesome. Thank you guys for having me. Take care.
Just a quick little outro for you. If you enjoyed today's show and you want to donate, you want to shout out, it's at Jamey Jasta on Venmo or paypal.me/Jasta or on Cash App $. What is it? $, Jamey Jasta. And I will be doing the shout outs next week. We got Fugitive coming on the podcast and a bunch of other great shows that will be out very soon. And make sure you come and hang with us. Milwaukee Metal Fest, May 15th through the 18th. Yours truly will be playing the pre-party with Flotsam and Jetsam, XCOM, and the newly added Sacrament. Also, we just had a bunch of new bands that we dropped. Killer bands like 656 and Skin Crawl from Connecticut, 1,000 Frames from Denver, from Colorado, also Honey Trap and a bunch of others. Big shout out to Mindsnap Music. Also, while I have you, make sure you support BlueGrapeMusic.com, one of our sponsors. Go to Blue Grape Music after the show today. Pre-order the new Gridiron. Check out releases from Heavy Hitter, Code Orange, and others. And big thanks to RainingPhoenixMusic.com. They have new releases from Deicide, Kerry King, Lordy. You can pre-order new releases from Onslaught, INCITE, who else? Meshuggah, the Immutable edition of their record. What is it? There's like a new version that they're doing. That's RainingPhoenixMusic.com. Link will be in the show notes. And of course, a big shout out to Nuclear Blast Records. Nuclear Blast is killing it right now. The big release month. The big release day is happening April 25th in Machine Head, Unatoned. Everybody here has probably already pre-ordered it yet, but if you haven't, go get it. And while you're there, check out Gates to Hell, Death Comes to All, and don't forget, Gates to Hell is playing Sunday, May 18th at Milwaukee Metal Fest. Get there early and see them rip it up. Just like Rob Flynn did in 2023. He liked it so much, he took him on tour. So check out Gates to Hell, Death Comes to All, pre-order, or go order that at nuclearblast.com, and then pre-order the new Machine Head, Unatoned. And yeah, patreon.com/Jasta, gasdigital.com. Who else do we got to shout out? We got to shout out our previous sponsors. I think they're going to be coming back, right? We're going to have, I think, Upstate Records. Big shout out to Mario and Kim, Upstate Records. I think they're coming back on board. Also, Buddy, shout out to Buddy. Unbeaten.merchnow.com. Got a really good response from all their releases. All right, yeah. Big thanks to everybody for keeping the podcast alive. We're going to be back on a regular schedule now leading up to Milwaukee Metal Fest. But yeah, if you want to hear all the behind the scenes stuff, and if you want previews of stuff before it happens, go to patreon.com/Jasta. And of course, go get your Hatebreed vinyl for Perseverance before it sells out. Martyrstore.net. Use the code MMF10 and get yourself some Milwaukee Metal Fest meet and greets too. All right, love you all. Thank you all. Bye-bye.